Welcome to Metal Titans, Guardians of Metal Entertainment Worldwide. I am speaking with Angelo Batio. Thank you for doing this interview with us today.
Oh, thanks, Char. It's great.
You're very welcome. Now, of course, you have been touring for a long time alongside doing guitar clinics as well. What made you decide to do a solo tour at this time?
I had the opportunity, like you said, I've been, touring for a long time, and I've toured in 58 countries, and many of those countries more than 5 and 6 times. China 11 times, Germany I've lost count, Italy, England, and while I play in the United States a lot, I don't really, I haven't toured here for a long time, and a couple of years ago, I just kind of rethought about what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I signed with a label called Rat Pack Records, who has a really great artist roster. And they've really been kind of guiding my career. We had a great run on the album. Debuted at number 11 on the hard rock charts and Billboard, and they got me openings in a lot of things, and the opportunity kind of presented itself where I got a good agency to book the tour. The demand was there, and then so I just went with it, and I'm really, really happy.
Now that's really cool. Now, you said you toured like 58 countries. Now, is there a country out of those 58 that you're like, I would love to go to one of them that you haven't been to yet, or in a long time even?
One of the countries that's my favorite is Australia, and I've toured there 3 times. I haven't been there in about 3 or 4 years. I'd like to go back there. I'd like to tour the Middle East. The only Middle Eastern country I've toured in is, there's 2. They're Turkey, and then I was in Israel earlier this year, but I'd love to go to Egypt and that part of the world, but it's not really so great for Americans to go. But that's kind of, for me, that's really, once I do that, that's, I'm happy. I'd love to see the pyramids. That's about the last thing on my list.
That's cool. It's always nice to tick those off if you can, right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, with your upcoming solo tour, your live performances include multimedia screens that are timed to like musical cues and everything, which actually not a lot of musicians use as much. Now, what made you to decide to use those for this tour?
Well, I've been doing this for a while, and what I did is I had a really a multiple screen version of the show, and we took it to Las Vegas. I had a full band with me, and we got offered a residency there, and it was for 3 months, which for me, I didn't think it was worth doing it. I don't want to sound arrogant. I don't mean that.
No.
I just, with all the other things going on, it wasn't what I wanted to do, and just the people involved, and then what I realized too is, playing a lot of the places that I'm playing now. I've done, guitar clinics and one-man concerts around the world, but not really the one-man concert in the United States. And I got so good at it over the years. I mean, not to blow my own horn, but I'm good at speaking with people. I tell really good stories between the songs. And the video, for example, I play a song called No Boundaries. That's on my very first solo album. And it's a really well-known song with guitar players. And there's a video of me online that's got tens of millions of views of me when I first wrote the song, and it was me back in the day, so to speak. And so when I start the song, it's all this really cool, esoteric video, and then it goes into the version of me when I was younger, playing along. And it's just,
cool.
It's kind of a historical thing. It's just very cool. And it's not, and I have a really great video person that does it, and I found the one-man show translates, and I think it's, because of bands like Royal Blood, where they go out, they're a 2-man band, and even, I'm a metal guitarist, there's no question, but I think sometimes some of the new ways of doing things, for example, not that I'm a big fan of EDM, but people are used to seeing one person up on stage, so it's not a big leap of faith now to see one guitarist up on stage, especially with all this video stuff going on in the background.
Yeah. No, it's, from what I've seen and everything, it looks really cool, so it's cool to have that extra aspect in the show, because like you said, to see one person on stage is one thing, but to have that extra element adds so much more.
I think so. And even between songs, I do tributes to some of my favorite bands and musicians. One is a tribute to Dimebag because I knew him, and he was supposed to play on one of my solo records. And of course, the tragedy happened, and he couldn't do it. But when I talk about it, there's pictures of me and Dime flashing on the screen before I play, and it's just really cool. And I've got, and the stories I tell are real. When I do a tribute to Metallica, but I do it all in my own version. But I know the guys in Metallica, and I talk about stories and, with my interactions with them, and it just works really well.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Now, of course, your latest album, Shred Force 1, released back in April, and like you said, hit the Billboard charts at number 11. In your opinion, what made this album unique and popular in the market?
Well, I think when, I was signed to 2 major labels very early in my career. So I started young. I had success young, in my 20s. And what I opted to do in the 1990s and the early 2000s is something different. I went into, I started doing guitar clinics, and I found I did a guitar clinic in the Philippines, and there were 7,000 people there. And I found this was a huge market that really a lot of guitar players didn't, A, know about, and B, didn't know really what to do. Everybody's trying to tour, and I'm out gallivanting around the world, staying in 5-star hotels, but with Shred Force 1, it was different. Like I said, I think that having a label like Rat Pack Records, I had my own label for a long time, and I still do, but because of the way I toured, even my visibility was worldwide, but it wasn't the kind of visibility that, say, a band that had songs on the radio and things that, I don't want to say normal, but I didn't do it the way most bands did it. I already did that. I toured the normal way. I had the videos on MTV when MTV played videos. I had, songs on the radio. I tried something completely different. And Shred Force 1 is a compilation of my 11 solo records, some of the best songs of that, and then some new songs that we added as bonus tracks. And I think the reason that it did so well is it got released and got exposed to a lot of people that wouldn't have been exposed to me because of the label, because of their expertise. And so I was really happy about that.
No, so far, from what I've heard from, our, common mutual friend, Suzanne, from what she showed me from the new record, sounds really great so far. So I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, of course, you're legendary for inventing the double guitar for the left and right-handed guitar. Now, and of course, you were the first to ever play it. What inspired you to invent this guitar? And, body style, everything.
I always wanted to do things that were different. And it's not to be better than anyone, but I never felt that I could, it's kind of a joke to say it, but it's true. I never felt I could play Randy Rhoads better than Randy Rhoads could play Randy Rhoads.
Right.
So, but I knew I could do the best version I could do. And the same thing goes with my live performance. I tried doing stage moves that other people did, and I just wasn't comfortable with it. And then when I'm left-handed, and so just being a left-handed person in a right-handed world, I'm ambidextrous to start with, at least a little bit. And I remember seeing a jazz concert when I was a boy. There was a public television station. Every Sunday, they would play concerts, all different genres. You'd see everybody from Black Sabbath to the Allman Brothers to Willie Nelson to blues players, classical music, jazz. And I remember one week, I watched this jazz concert, and it was this elderly man named Rasa. I'm Roland Kirk. And I didn't really, he was blind, and, I'm listening to the music. I kind of liked it. But at the end of the show, he put one of his people, he put another saxophone around his neck, and he was playing 2 saxophones at the same time, and I went, that's it. And And I'd always known about Jimmy Page, and I said, this isn't going to be a double neck like Jimmy Page. And so I said, I'm doing a lefty and righty version of that, because I watched them each hand play the saxophone, and it's kind of just like my double guitar, only saxophones are just right-handed. That's it. There's no left-handed saxophone. But I really got the idea from a jazz saxophonist, and then, in rock music, especially when I came up in the L.A. era, Los Angeles in the 80s, I mean, it was, we were just experimenting with everything, and, when I came up with this double guitar then, it just blew people away, and I could really play it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't whittle around on it, but I could really do it, and it got me instant publicity.
That's really cool. No, it looks awesome. Like, it's a beast when you see it.
Well, yeah, it's fun to play, and people ask me, well, why do you do this? Or especially in the early days, you always get critics that say, well, what are you doing this for? And I used to answer the question with a question. Well, why did Hendrix smash guitars? Why did Jimmy Page wear wizard outfits and use a bow? It didn't really have much to do with the music. But part of it is the show. And I said that, I look at my double guitar just like I looked at Jimi Hendrix smashing a guitar, playing with his teeth, people flipping guitars over their shoulders. To me, it's all the same thing. It's the visual part of the show.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now, of course, you yourself, like, speaking of playing guitars, you started playing when you were 10 years old and originally started playing the piano. Now, what made you switch from piano to guitar? And do you still play the piano from time to time?
Yeah, I play the piano all the time. In fact, every one of my solo records is me playing keys. I had a guest keyboardist on one album, but I still play keys on all the other songs. I started with piano. My mother played piano, and I love playing it, and I still do. I still keep up my playing, although, I don't talk about it. I didn't want to be, known as, guitarist, keyboardist, saxophonist, drummer. Yeah. I wanted to be known as a guitarist, and everything else is a secondary instrument. Yeah. But it was really a simple choice for me, because the music I listened to was hard and heavy, and I didn't hear much piano in it. In fact, a lot of it, none. And so I said, well, why am I playing an instrument that that's not even involved in the music that I like? And guitar was everywhere, so that's why I started playing the guitar, and I loved it.
That's cool. No, like, nowadays you hear the piano much more frequently, but I'm sure, like, when you were starting in the LA scene and stuff, guitars were everywhere, probably.
That's right. Yeah, it was really rare. I mean, if you think of a lot of the 80s bands, there were no keys anywhere. Yeah. I'm not saying, bands like Whitesnake, yes, the commercial bands, but harder and heavier bands, you didn't really hear much keyboards.
No, nowadays it's much more appreciated than a few years ago, so. Now, if you yourself had to pick a favorite new and upcoming guitar player or an older guitar player, who would you choose and why?
Well, I think, some of the newer guitar players, although he isn't so new anymore, let me think. There's a guitarist in a band called Falling in Reverse named Jackie Vincent, and he's really young, and he's really good. And I played on his first solo album I did, and Paul Gilbert and a couple other people, and, I'd say as far as one of the up-and-coming people, I think he's great. And he kind of sums up where rock music, whether it's really hard metal or it's more even like boy band oriented, like Black Veil Brides and him and their band, guitar playing has just risen exponentially. I mean, the level of players today is way better on average, I think, than at any time before. So I'd say he's one of the ones that to look out for.
Yeah, it's always the force to be reckoned with, right?
I think so. And he's a cool guy. He's from England. He's popular. He's in a popular band. He's touring. He's in his early 20s. He's doing all the right things, and he's really a good player. And so that's my point. Whether you're in a pretty boy band or you're in Arch Enemy and just tearing it up with a girl lead singer, caliber of playing is really high. It's at an all-time high. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make metal and rock guitar I wanted to have amazing players, because you already have amazing songs. You're not going to write better songs, that are written and that are going to be written by great songwriters, but you can play them. You can have the players, because all the other styles of music have both. They have great players and they have great songs, and I thought rock in the early days had really great songs, but I'm not taking anything away from Hendrix and the early days and all that, but I didn't think it was to the level it is today, just as far as the way they play.
Yeah.
Not the style or the sound, just the way they play.
No, exactly. No, it's totally different style of players today than there was like in the 80s, and like you're saying, it's totally different.
Yeah, totally.
Way more people out there nowadays than a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I
think one of the reasons, too, why I've been able to have the success I've had is, one, I don't change anything. I will not change a note for anybody. If I don't like it, I don't play it. If I like it, I play it. And I've learned over the years, I don't compromise it, because if I don't feel good about something, I can't do it. And I keep my playing really high. It's at a really high level. So, relates to people, young people who are ripping on guitar, and people that are older that go, wow, he's still really tearing it up. And it's just fun for me.
No, and that's good. It's good to never lose the fun side of something you love, because once you lose the fun side, you lose the whole drive to even keep doing it. So
I think so. My dad, he's not around anymore, but he used to always have these great sayings, and I'm not saying he made them up, but I can hear them all in my head. And one of them he used to say is, son, it doesn't matter if you're the richest person or the most famous person in the world, be happy. And I found so many people are not happy. I am. And he also said another thing, too. He said, if you think about money too much, you can't make it. He said, make money. He said, so what I've done is I do the best I can, I play the best I can, and then everything else kind of falls into place. I just don't stress out about it. I just want to play at the best level that I can play and keep the show amazing and do the best records I can, and kind of everything else just follows with that.
No, and that's perfect, right? It works. You don't mess with what works.
Yeah, I don't fix it if it's not broken.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Michael, for doing this interview for Metal Titans today. Before I finish, is there anything you would like to say or add to a message for your fans?
Well, yeah, I'd like to say, thanks for the support, and, I'm going to be all over the United States, and, my website is angelo.com if anyone's interested, and I look forward to seeing everyone on tour.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Michael, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Cool. Thanks, Char. Bye.
Thanks, Michael. Bye-bye.